it was really cool because I had grown up with Jem and the Holograms. So I think that's my phone. I'm sorry about that. My bad. It's set for 8 o'clock.
Way to go, Sarah. Way to go.
Just giving you more to edit.
The whole interview is ruined. This is such a beautiful story told with wonderful lyrical writing and amazing artwork that you painted by hand each and every page.
Sure did.
What were you thinking making that choice?
Oh my God. It's just how I work. I'm a little crazy that way, I guess.
48 pages, that's a
48
lot.
pages, there are 48 pages of 9x14 acrylic paintings. It took me about a year to do, but I love traditional art. I've always used traditional art for all my work. All the cover work I do in comics is traditionally painted, and it just felt right. It was most comfortable for me, so yeah.
The two main characters, the two title characters, are these really interesting, very different characters. But Aldous really stuck with me. The owl. He's like the Atticus Finch of the animal kingdom, and he's great. If you're dream casting already in your head, who would be the voice for Aldous?
So I actually asked Franco too, who he was thinking before we started working on it.
Being the writer of the book.
The writer of the book. He's amazing. I'm so excited for this. But I asked him when I was designing Aldous who he would think, the voice of Aldous would be, and he said Tim Daly. So that really helped kind of create this little tiny owl trying to have such a presence. Like, he's definitely the smallest owl of, all the other ones in the background, but he has the most, Tim Daly Superman voice behind it. So
it's such a great message too, because Aldous is driven by one basic principle: help others.
Yeah.
For no other reason than that's what you should do. You should help people who need help.
For sure. Yeah. The thing with Aldous is he was helped by a stranger in his past, and he wanted to repay the favor. I feel like even if he wasn't, helped, he would have. He's just a good soul, and it is good to just help, just be good. So.
There's some strong themes in the book, but it's an all ages book. But there are a few moments that get really intense. How did you and Franco work on that to keep it all ages friendly, so that kids and parents and people without kids can read it?
Totally. Well, I grew up on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, so I've always really liked kind of a kid's book to be borderline terrifying. Not to say that the Ghost of the Owl is, but there are parts towards the end where Eleanor has to stick up for herself, where I really drew on a lot of the super nightmare fuel that Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark had. I would have to work myself up to borrow these books from the library. So that's always kind of stayed with me. But I feel like kids can handle a scary story. I feel a lot of things are very sugar-coated right now. And to keep with the all ages thing, I know I wouldn't want to read something that was, not taking even a kid seriously enough. So, I just wanted to kind of add a little bit extra gross, spooky, drippy, ghost, dead things into it too. So, but, so it's enough to, I think, keep a kid interested and feel like they're able to read something that's too spooky.
In Eleanor, with her big expressive eyes, I see a lot of anime influence on her.
Yeah.
Are you a big anime fan?
I was such an anime kid in high school, and I feel so bad that I haven't really kept up with it. But late 90s, early 2000s, Trigun, I guess even 90s, like Ranma 1/2, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, that was my normal after school.
The golden age of anime.
Toonami. I do kind of have a lot of the big-eyed sort of expressions in Eleanor kind of coming through. She's like a little kid. I wanted her eyes to be, these big blue kind of ghosty sort of orbs. So yeah, I just thought it was neat.
Tell me about some of your artistic influences and inspirations when you were a fan just watching anime.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you were also reading some comics.
I was, yeah. Probably.
Who were you into?
I was super into a ton of manga that I can't remember. But I know I read some Sailor Moon, and I think I dabbled in some of the Dragon Ball episodes because they weren't in the cartoon yet, so I wanted to know what was going on there. But I did have some of the Joe Mad X-Men comics. Angel was always one of my favorites because I'm just obsessed with anything that has wings. So
Joe Mad's had a massive influence.
Yeah, totally.
A lot more than people think.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people bring him up.
Totally. There was one especially. My neighbor would have the Angel Reborn issue, and I wouldn't steal it from him, but I would borrow it a lot.
Your career after college started not with art, but with toys.
Yeah. So right out of college, I had a job at Hasbro sculpting toys. I was a little Santa's elf there, working on. I did work on some Star Wars, G.I. Joe. I think I did some X-Men.
Give me some names, specific toys that you had a hand in sculpting.
Okay, cool. So I definitely did a superhero squad of Reptile. He's this weird little Marvel character. He's this kid who could turn into dinosaurs, which checks off 2 of my interests.
You love dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs. They're really rad. I did work on some Jurassic Park toys that will never see the light of day, which is super sad. I sculpted a lot of hair. There's a Baroness that was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It was the big one that looked like she was in a coffin, sort of. It was this big black weird coffin box that had Baroness in it, but I sculpted her hair. Yeah, and then just like a lot of pockets. A lot of it was just kit bashing their own toys and pockets and belts. So many belts.
Any X-Men characters you remember?
I did work on Lizard from Spider-Man because he was a very dinosaur-looking lizard. So I was Dinosaur Girl for a little bit, so they just gave that to me, which was great. I didn't complain.
Any close calls of toys that you really pitched hard and you wanted to make happen and just couldn't do it?
So I did a superhero squad of Shanna the She-Devil and because, you know, dinosaurs, and Shanna's awesome.
There's that dinosaur thing.
There you go, yeah. And so I really tried to push for it, and it seemed like it was going to work out, but it was one of those things that were too good for this world. So
missed opportunity, Hasbro.
Yeah.
Did you keep the prototype?
Somewhere. It's somewhere. It's lost to the ages.
What did the toy business teach you about being an artist?
The thing I've learned is that working in 3D definitely really helps you as a 2D artist. I feel like when I was sculpting and doing an illustration right after, if there was foreshortening that I had to draw, I could kind of visualize, you know, where the rest of the arm would go if I was kind of doing an Iron Man pose at you. Just because you'd be working hours and hours on sculpting said arm and looking at it straight on. But yeah, everything at Hasbro was painted to pretty much to size, so you'd be staring at a tiny little arm, and then that would kind of translate, help you out later on. It was great.
You've done some great covers for a lot of licensed books, a lot of very familiar, popular, beloved properties, including Gem.
Yes, yeah, my queen. I grew up on Gem. That was like my project of my dreams to work on in the comic, you know, zone. At Hasbro, they had a original gouache of one of the Gem characters that I would detour down a different hallway that I had absolutely no business being in just to see a Gem gouache. So I never got to work on Gem at Hasbro, but it was really cool to be able to work on it with IDW, and it was something that I mercilessly begged them to work on, so I became a huge pain about it.
Do you ever see yourself getting tired of drawing that character?
No, man. If I could like be Gem, just glam rock it every day.
That seems impractical. It's not a practical everyday outfit.
No.
Not.
And the glitter would get in your eye and it'd be terrible.
And then when it's hot,
exactly.
You know, on those hot summer days in New Hampshire.
The humidity, just the hair would never stay up. So.
You worked with some others, Ghostbusters?
Yes. Yep. I just did a cover for issue 2 of Ghostbusters Crossing Over. It's got all the characters from the Ghostbusters movie, comic, TV shows, toys. There's like a Janine toy that I put into one of the comics. There's a little like blue brain thing that I had when I was like 10. Put that into, but yeah, and in the movies, Holtzman was my favorite in the new Ghostbusters because Kate McKinnon's amazing.
You've done an interior story. For Ghostbusters, correct?
I did a one-page story about Janine going to get coffee, and a ghost totally ruins that little joy that she had during the day. It was written by Eric Burnham, and he knew that I liked Janine, so he was cool enough to let me illustrate it. So. Do
you have the bandwidth to handle an interior story for like a Gem?
Oh my God! I would make it. I would make it happen. I would forego sleep to make a Gem interior happen.
You love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park is back, you know, in full bloom on the A-list of properties.
Oh, there's going to be a crossover.
Give me your Jurassic World comic pitch.
Oh my God. My favorite part of the movie was the invisible camouflage dinosaur.
Camo dinosaur.
Camo dinosaur. That was from the book with the Carnotauruses, making it so that the Carnotauruses are actually the camouflage dinosaurs because that would be right. And I'm a stickler for for that. I want that to happen. But the idea of like a 30-foot dinosaur that you can't see is terrifying. So they touched on it in the movie. I just want that to be more of a thing. Let me paint a dinosaur, please.
We got to make this happen.
They'll be real cool and swirly and neat.